Y'all, now I love Karen, but she is a bold-faced liar. Like, she is just straight up lying, y'all. What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Beasley here. Hope you all are staying cool, calm, and collected out there. I'm coming at y'all today with a review of the Real Housewives of Potomac Season 5, Episode 18. Don't really know the name of this episode, don't really care. I just learned out that the season finale is next week. Actually, perfect timing. Atlanta Housewives is coming back on. Don't know if I'm going to review them because them girls are just boring to me. But I will say I do apologize. I've been away for a little bit, mainly because I've been dealing with some things internally. Like, for one, it's been a lot of depression spells that I've been dealing with, and I just did not have the energy last week to make a video, but I'm here. This episode is lit, so let's get into it. So we started this episode with Karen. She is with her stylist who did her hair over the years, and they're doing a they're under the umbrella of the Dom, and they're doing a collaboration with RPG show Wigs. If you don't know them, a lot of YouTubers who do wig reviews, they do collaborations with that company. So it's a very well-known company, and it's a good look for Karen. And I think her hairstylist was probably fresh out of beauty school when Karen first got on this show, because there was they did a flashback of all of her wigs from season 1 up until today, and there is a steady progression. So kudos to him. But, it's a good look that she's really expanding her brand. One thing that bothered me was all the girls hating on her in the confessional. They were just oh, well, where is this wig line coming from? Out of nowhere. When did she ever talk about this? I'm why are y'all hating? I expect Giselle to hate, but I at least thought Candace, of all people, was gonna offer words of encouragement, despite the fact that she's kind of on the outs with Karen. But my thing is, Candace, weren't you selling them fat ass bundles with your sister on your first season? What? She never talks about that hair business. What happened to that? We haven't even seen her sister since that season either. So what's going on, girl? Inquiring minds want to know. So moving on, we see Monique looking beautiful and rejuvenated with that bun. She looked really gorgeous and glowing in this scene. She meets up with Ashley and her grown-ass baby, and they sit down, and Monique kind of asks, oh, how was the Portugal trip? And Ashley was oh, it was pretty good. And then Ashley in turn asked Monique about her son's first birthday. And she's oh, yeah, it was great. And then Karen was at it too. And then Ashley's oh, well, was she drinking there? And I'm just here we go again with this storyline. To me, it kind of seems these girls, at the last minute, are trying to make fetch happen. They're trying to make other storylines happen out of nowhere, mainly because, in this season, what else happened besides Candace and Monique getting into a fight? And then, we had Karen and her little side stories. But besides them three, who else really had anything going on this season? I would really want to know. Who cares about Karen's grown-ass drinking? Who cares, Ashley? She's starting to, revert back to her old ways, in my opinion. I don't like that. Because I was actually somewhat feeling Ashley this season up until these last few episodes. But whatever. But then Ashley's oh, well, she said that she had ulcers and that she couldn't drink. And then Monique was basically oh, well, she was drinking pretty lit at that party, so I don't really know where that information came back. She kind of just dusted off a little bit. But then Ashley then informs Monique that she's not invited to Karen's wig launch party. And then Monique's oh, well, that's news to me, because she was actually trying to get me to come. And I told her I was going to go early so that I can try to avoid Candace, basically. And then Ashley's oh, well, you know what? Let's just get her on the phone to confirm. So she calls Karen, and then Ashley's she's oh, well, Karen, I just want you to confirm about what you said in regards to Monique not being invited to your party. And then, y'all, at first I was Ashley, why are you being messy? But Karen just straight up lies, y'all. She straight up lied. And then Karen says that Monique declined to come because she said that she wasn't comfortable. And I'm just Karen, that is not what you said. Robin in that last episode asked you straight up if Monique was invited to the party, and you said no ifs, ands, or buts, because you felt it wasn't a good time for her and Candace to be in the same space. So I'm just Karen, why are you lying? I'm not trying to be biased and brush it off, because I don't like liars, but I do like Karen. She is the only one I really like on this show. But I'm just girl, I gotta call it out for what it is. Karen, you have a lying problem, girl. You need to work on that. So then we go down to see Giselle. She's taking her daughters out for, I believe it was, the oldest daughter's name is Grace, right? Like, I believe it was like her 15th birthday, and they were going out for like a birthday dinner. And this scene was so embarrassing, y'all. Like, it's so easy to go in on Giselle, but it's just like, Like, she informed the girls that their father was going to come down for, I believe it was like for the birthday weekend or like just like a week to do family activities, and he was going to stay there for a whole week. And them girls were just looking like why? And then Giselle's basically like, oh, because that's your father. Like, we're going to spend quality time. And them girls are just not feeling it. Like, honestly, y'all, the girls are just so over it. Like, one of the twins, like, rolled her eyes so hard. It's just like, give it up, Giselle. You don't have a man. Like, I think they know that this storyline is fake, and then they're kind of just like, oh my god, like, do we have to continue this on and on? Like, you guys are not together. Like, Giselle, your daughters are tired. They're tired of this fake storyline. They're tired of the fact that they know Jamal ain't shit. He ain't ever gonna be shit. Like, your daughters like Sherman, your ex-boyfriend, more than their own father. Like, that really speaks volumes to me. Like, I don't know what type of relationship like, I don't know if it was the fact that Jamal cheated on Giselle multiple times is the reason why his daughters aren't feeling her, or like what did he do to a point where, or maybe it's the fact that he wasn't there, like he wasn't really there for them. Like, I honestly want to know what happened. Like, where is the disconnect? Because the daughters are just over it. Like, they're just so like, why do we have to keep carrying on this damn storyline? Like, enough is enough already, Giselle. I believe they're in on this storyline. They're just like, this is so fake. Like, why do we have to keep this charade up? Like, this is some BS. Like why? We don't want this man around. We don't like him. And it's like she insists on keeping him around up for appearances, when really, like, Giselle, this is all just like fraud. Like, this is just fraudery. Like, there's nothing genuine about this whole entire Jamal. Like, and it's like you're putting your kids through this on national television when they're not comfortable with the storyline at all. They're not comfortable with the way he treats you, and they're not comfortable with him. They want Sherman to be their dad. Like, they do not like Jamal at all, and that is just crazy to me. We then see Karen and Ray. Karen is in a bubble bath preparing to do the nasty with Ray. He gets home, there's a bunch of rose petals everywhere, and then like Karen is calling out for his name multiple times. It takes Ray 2 years to get up the stairs, and then they proceed to like get in the tub and do God knows what. Like, that was almost on the same line of a Mama D and Ernest type of sex scene I did not want to see, and I'm glad they did not show it. So we then see Wendy, her and her family and her mom go to a pumpkin patch. It really is kind of just like activity for the family. I believe this scene actually was filmed like last month, if I'm not mistaken. But they go down to the pumpkin patch, and then basically Wendy pulls her mom to the side and basically tells her, like, breaks the bad news that she doesn't want to be a professor anymore. And at first, like, the mom laughs in her face, and she's like, girl, be quiet. Like, I did this, like, you did this because of me, basically. Like, she put all the pressure on her and basically instilled in the fact that, like, she's, like, basically her trophy. Like, because she's a professor, she's able to brag to the other Nigerian parents in the Nigerian community about the fact that, look what my daughter did, look what she's doing, look what she's providing to society. When in reality, like, Wendy does not really give two shits about being a professor. Wendy wants to be on TV. And Wendy, luckily, is in her dream right now, so it's not too hard for her mom to understand, thankfully. But to me, it kind of felt like they just ended the storyline, like, abruptly. Like, the producer stepped in and be like, okay, we need to wrap this up because the season almost over. That's how it felt, because the mom was against it completely, and then out of nowhere, she accepts it. I mean, I understand that's your daughter, she's grown as shit, and her happiness is important, but it just felt like the resolve... Like, she built this up the whole season for it to just be resolved in 2 minutes. And I'm just like, okay. And then we also see Robin and Juan go shop for a house that they cannot fucking afford. Next case. So, and then we see Giselle at the day of the photo shoot for the family photos, because they want new photos of the new union of Giselle and Jamal, basically. And Jamal doesn't show up. He calls her on FaceTime, and it felt like he had no remorse whatsoever. And then Giselle quickly gets off the phone with him, and then producers ask if she's letting him off the hook, and then she gets defensive. And I'm just like, Giselle, you're letting him off the hook because he's doing you a favor by playing your fake boyfriend. This is not... Like, girl, the jig is up at this point, Giselle. You need more people. We don't believe this storyline, and we don't believe you. You're a fraud. So we then see Ashley and Michael. They host a dinner so he can get right with Uncle Lump and Ashley's mom. And I'm not taking up for Michael, but Michael is 97 years old. Why is your mom and your uncle talking to Michael about something that's going on in his relationship? The uncle wants him to like just get right and get strong, but Michael's gonna do what he wants. Michael is grown. Like, Michael is as old as Methuselah. He's ancient. He's not changing. Even at the fact that he's been put on blast multiple times, he still went out and cheated. He's still gonna cheat because this is the basis that Ashley got in the relationship with. Like, this was their relationship foundation. Like, he's old. He's not changing. He's just going to cheat in private. It's not... He's just gonna make sure that whoever he's cheating with, he's going to pay off enough of money to where they won't say anything and keep quiet. Like, Michael... it was just embarrassing to me. Like, I'm from the viewpoint of Michael, like, bro, I am grown. Like, I'm not about to listen to your ass. Like, I'm not about to listen to you tell me what to do. Like, no, get out of my house. Sorry, like, that's just how I felt. Like, the whole scene was just very embarrassing. So then we go on to the day of Karen's wig event. Monique shows up, and then they get to talking, but Monique is only there for like a split second. Like, Karen basically doesn't really apologize for the fact that, like, you lied and said that she wasn't invited when she really was. But then Karen gets a text from Candace, and Candace says that she's like almost there. So, like, Karen hurries up and ushers Monique up out the whole entire event. And then they get to the door. She's like, oh, wait a minute, I gotta call my driver. And then they stop, and then Karen's like kind of like shitting a brick for a little bit because she's like, damn, Monique could be walking in any minute. This white lady walks in. I think it was like Karen's manager or something. She's like, oh, thank God. And then Monique gets ushered into her car, and she just drives off. So then all the girls show up. But except for Giselle. Giselle doesn't show up because mainly, like, the wig stylist that's working with Karen, he did a lot of trash talking about Giselle. Basically how we all do. Like, we all, like, live tweet the show. Like, that's what he was doing. And he was talking a lot of mess about Giselle, but, like, it's really... Everything that was said in those tweets is what we're thinking, to be honest. So... The girls, they each put on blonde wigs. I will say Ashley looked really good in her blonde wig. Like, that, like, if she ever wants to do something with her hair, like, blonde is it. Maybe a darker blonde, because it low-key washed her out just a little bit, but it looked good on her. So, and then Ashley then goes ahead and she gifts Karen a bag of antacids because she had ulcers. Like, it was like a petty gift. Basically, like, oh, so now you'll be able to drink now. Karen then explains that she couldn't really drink on the trip because of her ulcers, and that's why I have this bag of antacids, because Ashley wanted to be petty. And then Robin chimes in, and then she asks Karen, like, well, are you just not drinking around us because you're afraid of what might come out of your mouth? And then Karen in turn says, no, but you should be more worried about what Juan says about you when he's drunk. And then everybody's just like, ooh, everybody's just like, okay, all right. Even Ray steps in like, okay, nope, we're not doing this. And then, like, Robin, she couldn't even find a rebuttal, y'all. Like, she's like, you know what, take this wig off. Like, she didn't even know what to say to Karen. Like, I was just like, come on, Karen. Like, Karen is the MVP of this season. Like, nobody has been able to read like her. Like, nobody has been able to come, like, she's like the queen reader of this group now. Like, Karen really stepped it up this season. I love her to death. She represents Potomac very well. I will say that. So then Ashley reveals to everybody that Karen invited Monique and that she was actually at the party earlier. And then Candace is kind of looking at her like, wow, really? So you just really don't care about my feelings, huh? And then Karen really just doesn't give a shit. Like, she's just like, you know what? Yes, I invited her. Yes, I did. So, like, what are you gonna do about it, basically? So Karen's actually pretty pissed off, and she's like, you know what? I'm gonna get ready. And Robin's like, get ready. She's like, yeah, I'm leaving. And then everybody's like, why are you leaving your own party? Like, the party's not even over. And then she's like, we're going to dinner. Like, enough of this. And then even Wendy chases after her, like, come on, Karen. Like, we're all still here. How are you going to leave when everybody's here? And then Karen's like, man, I already paid the bill. I don't give a fuck. Bye. And then she ushers off into her car. So then all the girls are outside, and they're basically, like, talking about Karen. Like, basically, like, telling Candace, like, she doesn't care about you. And then Candace even reveals at the fact that Karen told her to come early. So it's like, now Karen, were you trying to get them to actually see each other? I know she was like shitting a brick earlier, but it was like some messiness at play. Like, what, like, were you trying to get it to where them two like run into each other so it could be a more organic scene? Like, were you trying to like produce a little bit, Karen? I love you, girl, but that's a little messy on your part. So everybody's really starting to look at her sideways, and Wendy reiterates the fact that, like, I don't know what you have to see in order for you to put the clues together, but Karen, she's not your friend. And then the episode ends. I give this episode about an 8 out of 10. It was cute, straight to the point. Next week's going to be lit. Next week's the season finale. It's going to be a good season finale. We're going to see a confrontation between Michael and what is Candace's? Chris, yeah. Michael and Chris, and then we're going to see Ashley and Candace go at it, and it's going to be a ball. I gotta say, like, there has been some low points of this season, but overall, the season has been pretty decent. Pretty good, actually. But those are my views. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'm going to come at you guys with some more content.